Everybody, thanks for watching. And just a quick reminder that the first 3 books of the Bible series is now available: Genesis, Exodus, and Leviticus, as well as Mystery School Volume 5. Definitely don't want to miss that one. Check it out. But want to get into this video real quick and answer some questions a lot of you have been talking about. As far as, the state of, the economy, get a lot of economy questions lately. A lot of people talking about what's going on with the whole Kanye West thing and, what he said and everything like that. And just in general about the support that we give to these entertainers and athletes or what have you. And a lot of people, for the most part, are shocked about, what he said. Of course, him saying that slavery is a choice is crazy. But, him wearing a hat, it wasn't a big deal to me because he already came out and showed his support for Trump when he won. He went to the tower and met him and everything like that. But a lot of people, looking at this thing and for the most part are understanding that it is a distraction. Anytime you have mainstream media having people like will.i.am and, people having T.I. on and all these now mainstream outlets talking about what Kanye said and talking about their whole discussion, married to somebody that's not black, coming out and saying something like slavery is a choice. It was a choice. That's just crazy. But we've been watching the downfall of Kanye for a while. He's been saying a lot of weird shit and doing a lot of crazy stuff lately. And for the most part, I don't understand why people even pay attention to it. Why they even care. Who cares? So what? These people sold us out. Like, so many people is immersed in what these celebrities is doing. I understand and I always talk about how they drive our culture. But if you listen to what I'm talking about, from my standpoint, they sellouts. I don't care who you want to name. You want to talk about Nicki Minaj or Cardi B or Jay-Z or what have you. They sold us out, every single one of them. Now, maybe it wasn't that case in the beginning, not understanding what they was getting themselves into. But now when you pay attention and look at it, any real critical thinking person, anybody that has a brain, can analyze our economic situation and the situation of our community and see clearly that it's intertwined with hip hop culture. And I always talk about this, and the fact that you have all these artists bringing this kind of content to the black community and knowing it's destroying us and it's not uplifting us in no way, tells you they know what they're doing. So, if you are going to look at Kanye West, and this is my whole thing with it, you're going to look at Kanye West and cuss him out and shun him. I mean, he's an asshole. Let's keep it real. If you're going to shun him for supporting Trump, you got to shun Jay-Z and Beyonce and everybody else who supported Obama. Because to me, they one and the same. And you can go ahead and be confused and duped by that whole black-white thing. It's bullshit. That seat, that office, and anybody who holds that office of president of the United States, their job is to keep and maintain the power of white supremacy and the oppression of black people. So I don't care who's sitting in that seat, male, female, black, white. Their job is to make sure your ass don't get nowhere. So, if we're not going to support him, which I never did anyway, you can't support none of these other cats. Everybody want to talk about Kanye. What about everybody who supported Obama when he sat there and watched, so many black people get executed by cops and he did nothing? So what is we talking about here? We're talking about this man, what he said out his mouth, his own stupid, ignorant opinion. Who cares? It's a distraction. I'm talking about results. I'm talking about what actually happened. We had a black president and we didn't get shit. We still going through, all this racism and police brutality and cops killing us. What is this? So, as I said before, when Obama get out the White House, there's nothing that we can say about the next president. This was already made clear to everybody because we let Obama slide with everything else. So whatever Trump is going to do, if it's going to be against black people, what have you, we can't say shit because Obama did nothing for us. And you still to this day have so many people that's just on the Obama bandwagon as if this dude was the greatest gift to black people. He did so much for black folks and we in a better position now because of him. It's bullshit. It's bogus. So why people get concerned with this stuff, I don't understand. Why seemingly conscious people want to immerse themselves in, what Kanye West has to say and what this dude, his ideology is. And, what's his name on TMZ, the Black Moor. He claims himself to be a Moor. What he said to Kanye, put him in this place, that was what's up. And I think you got a lot of these artists that sugarcoating what they saying. And you got to understand too, they putting the cameras in front of these artists so that black people don't think that this is what all artists think. You know, they have to make a stand for their brand, because Kanye represents their brand. Kanye represents their brand of hip hop, this music. So they got to make sure that they have representatives come forward to disagree with what he's saying. That's basically really what it is. Them coming forward and representing hip hop and saying, well, we don't agree with what he's saying, but hip hop is okay. He can say that we basically, you know, we chose to be slaves, but we're not going to talk about us talking about killing each other. We're not going to talk about Cardi B saying, fuck them, then I get some money. We're not going to talk about all the misogynistic and all the, you know, the language and, you know, the talk that we use in our music that is degrading and destroying the image of black people. We're not going to talk about or be mad about that stuff, but we're going to be mad about, you know, Kanye's opinion. Now, a lot of these corporations and companies that we buy from support Trump also. So a lot of people are not going to go ahead and say don't support these corporations because they support Trump. It is what it is. They gave us what we should argue about, which is Kanye West. For whatever reason, he chose to put himself in the position that he in. It is what it is. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody trying to, you know, wrap their head around the situation, but it's clearly a distraction. Plain and simple. This is what he want to do. This is where he want the attention to go, where they want the attention to go. Anytime they put something that a rapper says, mainstream media, everything rappers have said, you know, they put this mainstream. So, you know, what this idiot chose to do was add to an argument that many of us have already dealt with these same, you know, type of ignorant white folks who believe that we somehow deserve slavery, we sold ourselves into slavery, or we somehow had a choice to walk out of slavery. You know, I've had this argument before with people who actually really believe this crap, as if, you know, we brought this onto ourselves. As I said, even if you want to talk about, you know, blacks, you know, Africans selling Africans into slavery, so what? It happened. Y'all bought them. So how does that make, you know, us wrong for, you know, what happened? Especially when you have people forced to go and hunt and sell their enemies into slavery under threat that, you know, their village or their people might be attacked, their tribe might be attacked and kidnapped. So they come to you and say, hey, if you don't go bring me some of these people, we're going to take your people. You know, what are you supposed to do? And this is, you know, what happened in a lot of cases. But even still, if a black man sell you a dog, he don't expect you to hang that dog from a tree. He don't expect you to set that dog on fire. And that's exactly what they was doing. So you can go ahead and say, well, blacks sold blacks into slavery. Okay, what happened after the fact? And then we can go ahead and get rid of slavery altogether and say, okay, well, slavery happened. You want to blame it on us? We know you're wrong. We disagree. But what about after slavery? You know, what about Jim Crow? What about civil rights movement? The whole effort for us to just try to, you know, go to school. And having this talk so many times, it's funny how, you know, you have some people who just simply refuse to be wrong in this whole view, because I can understand today why a lot of people look at the black community and are scared of it and say that, well, black people, we just bringing each other down. And what I say to these white folks, I say, well, what about, you know, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, when it wasn't, you know, no real black on black crime. It wasn't, you know, crack epidemic. You know, it wasn't no hip hop or gangster rap. You know, what about then? We couldn't even shop in the same store. We couldn't even piss in the same toilet. So it's no excuse. So this is just to show you that racism, white supremacy has been around for a long time, whether we good or bad in their eyes, because they the ones who get to decide what's good and what's bad. So what Kanye West coming out saying is, it basically, you know, it sets you back. It don't really set us back, because it is what it is. They're going to think how they want to think anyway. But having an artist that has that kind of stature, who is considered to be at the top, one of the people at the top of hip hop, for him to come out and say something that ignorant, that's crazy. And then you see mainstream media jump all over it and try to act like they want to coddle us down to bring people want to talk about Kanye West. What's wrong with Kanye West? It's a distraction. It's a distraction. It's bullshit. And, you know, we got to still look at it. You know, anybody that supports Trump, of course, we don't want to deal with it. But you got to realize most of these companies you buy your food and you buy your clothes and you buy whatever from support Trump. Plain and simple. again, it goes back to the whole economics thing. So a lot of these corporations and companies that you purchase shit from and you deal with supporting Trump anyway. You know, they backing him up. You had the damn Jews run Obama. You got the same people who feeding us all this bullshit was put Obama in office. And you had, let's not, even count the numbers, record numbers of black folks that went out and voted for Obama. Some of them supposedly conscious. And you got to understand what that seat, as I said, represents. Ain't nobody sitting in that seat that's going to change anything for you. So why are we entertaining this? Again, we got to get through all this drama, man, and this bullshit. It's a distraction, and focus on economics. I'm going to keep harping on that because it's the only thing that we can use and get through that they have to let us, because they have to keep up this image, mainstream, of being, we're not trying to hold black people back. They got to keep that image up on a public level. So we have little ways, because in personal economics, I gave you those ways, and I'm a living example. So as I said before, if it's about oppressing black people and not, letting black people advance, how am I rich? How do I have money? How do some of my friends, and how are they able to do what they're doing? So it's not so much that, it's us understanding how to do it and gain this wealth and not be distracted by the distraction. Plain and simple, because there are ways. I'm living proof, and a lot of people who are able to gain this success because they was able to work hard to understand the traps and not fall victim to it. So these are the distractions, and you got to understand, every day is something new. Every day is something else. And when you start getting this stuff into your consciousness, and it becomes a part of how you live your life and the way you walk. So everybody want to scream, Kanye West, and, what happened to him? He used to be this, he used to be that. What did this to him? Hip hop. Plain and simple. The culture. A lot of people say, no, what's that Armenian bitch? She did it. Fucking Kardashians. And you gotta understand, when you enter that life and you have to keep up that image and they require things of you, you gotta do what you gotta do. It is what it is. Like we don't, a lot of people don't understand what that stuff is about, And my whole thing is, and what you should be asking yourself is, as a president of the United States, understanding what hip hop is about, why would you want to be associated with a hip hop artist? What is that? Do you not get that, what they're trying to do? When you seeing Jay-Z and Beyonce meet with Obama and Michelle and everything like that, how they got everybody so hooked on, the Obamas and everything, and then you see J and B and people just excited and happy that they showing love to each other. Man, it's bullshit. It's to get you sucked in. And this is what's happening to y'all. People so stupid. It's sucking you right into the whole bullshit. So now you supporting, what both parties believe, not understanding they both in cahoots, for your downfall, for your destruction. What changed? Because Jay-Z and Beyonce met the Obamas. What changed? What happened for you? What happened to the black community? What happened for us? You had all this blackness coming together at the White House. All these black celebrities coming to the White House to meet Obama, taking picture after picture. What the fuck did we get out of it? What happened? We got a bunch of dead black folks. Regular black folks like you and me, like us. What happened? And it's the same thing. It's nothing's going to happen from this. Kanye West coming out talking and everybody want to be jumping on it. What's going to happen? Why are we entertaining this stuff? And the only reason why I'm doing the video is because so many people want to ask my opinion. And, if you watch my videos, you know how I feel about this stuff anyway. Like, I'm just going to entertain you guys and let you know, what you really should be thinking about as far as this subject. But, it's up to you to make up your own mind, of course. And for the most part, most of you already understand. It's some bullshit. Some bullshit. And he been on some bullshit before he opened his mouth. So why am I going to worry about what this man's saying? It is what it is. So we know what they into. We know what they got to follow. And they got rules. They enter into oaths. And if you understand about masonry and everything like that, what this stuff entails, you don't know what he doing or why he doing this. Me personally, I wouldn't have said that shit. I don't know too many black people that would come out and say something like that. You would be worried that, you're going to get bust upside your head when you get outside. But then you got people trying to coddle Kanye and want to talk to him and everything like that. Stop that. It's a white man behind that man. Plain and simple. It's white supremacy because they put in the mainstream. You say something like that when you're in that kind of position, they're going to let everybody know that you said it. So it's everywhere right now. They know damn well they was holding us hostage. We were slaves. That's what it means to be a slave. You're working against your will. Ain't nobody just going up and decide, yeah, I want to stay. Towards the end, yeah, it was that way because like Harriet Tubman said, I could have freed a lot more if they only knew they were slaves. Because you had generational, I don't want to say indoctrination, but basically generational teaching of slavery, and it's just people born into it and live their whole lives as slaves, and from the stories they was told, ancestors before them, slaves. So that's all they knew. They didn't know they wasn't supposed to be slaves. So, it's crazy, but I get that argument. And he know it's wrong. Everybody else know it's bullshit. The media know it's bullshit. So why are we talking about it? It's a distraction. So again, you got to pay attention to why is Trump even considering or consorting with Kanye West? And, what is Kanye getting out of it? What is the whole agenda and plan for it with this whole thing? Since these people control hip hop and they know the direction they want it to go in, this is what they're doing. Anybody that's really conscious, and you have conscious rappers out there, understand that, this establishment, this government is the enemy of us. So as a hip hop artist, why would you want to be associated with it? The biggest way, even when you go and research in the ancient world, you research ancient Africa and the tribes and everything that's really African. The biggest way we have always got our message across, is expression. We have always been able to express ourselves throughout the generations. And they understand that. They understand that, you can give a good sermon or you can give a good speech and it motivates people. People get a rise out of it. They get a feeling out of it when you speaking to a people, when you talking to exactly something that they're going through in life. And they understand that. They understand also, as I talked about in the calculated destruction of the black man and woman, they understand, one, how music affects us and how music affects the brain and how powerful music is. And, just understanding about what white supremacy is and the things that they would need to do to be in a position of power that they are in. There's no way you can look at, this culture, you can look at hip hop and believe that they would not control it. And this is the problem. Like, we don't really want to tackle that subject, that issue. And Jay-Z even talked about it. And you had other people coming out and talking about it like, hey, we don't own this shit. But it's the consumer's fault. It's our problem. And it's because we don't care. And it's like we complain, but we don't really fucking care. And I don't understand how that works. And we complain all the time, but we're not caring who is controlling our music and controlling what we are hearing. I hear a lot of people complain about a lot of these new artists, me one of them, and about, the state of hip hop, but we don't control it. We calling it black music. It's not even black music no more, as they have, obviously shown us, because they bringing in so many people, into the culture, and they slowly changing the culture, and it's changed already. It's not what it used to be. The artists who we really want to hear, the ones who could really uplift us, are gone. They're not putting out that music mainstream that we really want to hear, that really lifted us up. And, when you take it back and look at it, they experimented with us. And it's basically what they did. They experimented with black folks to see what the masses would appeal to. And this is why you go back to the 50s and 60s, and we had our music era. And, we had rock and roll. We the ones who invented it. We had jazz and the blues and pop and soul, R&B, and eventually hip hop and everything like that. And they seen how it broke barriers. We seen how, even Little Richard, James Brown, Ray Charles, how it didn't matter what color you was. They had everybody running to their shows. Black, white, it didn't matter. And they understood that. And they learned from us. It's the same thing with television. They had their television shows, don't get me wrong, and they had their musicians, but it didn't transcend, both black and white. We wasn't feeling that bullshit. We wasn't feeling what they was putting out. So since white people was feeling what we was putting out, this is what they went with. So we had our TV shows I talked about in the 90s. We had Martin, and we had, Family Matters, and we had Living Single, and we had A Different World. We had a lot of black shows, Rock. We had all these shows that was really, giving them understanding about what the masses would appeal to. And they learned from that and canceled all that shit and then put their stuff out. And it was, too late. by that time, because we done had gangster rap, the crack epidemic, private prisons. All that stuff was in place. So once our shows went off the air and everything that was really teaching us to go in the right direction, as a people, once that stuff was gone, you had a different world where you had black folks in college. You had, even with Family Matters, when you had the black family intact, doing well. Steve Urkel was a genius. I talked about this before. Even with Martin, I mean, they had, he was a radio DJ. They had good jobs. They still, economically was cool when you pay attention to, what was going on. And Living Single, I mean, come on. Those all professionals, black professionals, the look that we had back then with those shows was a good look for us. And that had to be done away with to usher in, the hip hop culture, plain and simple. And then everything changed. We haven't had shows like that since then, black shows. We haven't had none. And everything we started seeing after that had to deal more with black people in poverty, so they knew what they was doing. This was strategic. This was a plan. And hip hop played a big part of it. It was the major thing that brought it all down, because they wanted to not cast us in that light no more, to only have us be cast in that light of this hip hop culture. And here it is today. And people still refuse to believe and accept what has happened. And we're going to continue, to have this argument. And it's not enough people talking against it. Everybody want to complain. Everybody want to talk about how bad things is, but nobody want to address the real issue, because they find entertainment in it. And you can keep talking about how good or the little things that these artists do or what have you. It doesn't really make up for what the whole culture has done and is doing to our people. It don't make up for it. And somebody like Kanye coming out saying what he's saying, nobody should really be surprised when you listen to everything else, these artists have said. So now the craziest question and the craziest thing I've heard, black people say about this whole thing is, how should we as black people address the Kanye West situation? How should we address it? Like, as if what we say, he's going to hear it and it's going to really affect him. How should we address it as black people? Come on. First of all, we know this. He's going to come out with a new album or come out and say something, and probably in a couple months from now, a year from now, anybody going to give a shit about what's going on today. Because that's how, the whole lure of the entertainment industry, he's famous, he's rich, he's a celebrity. So people talking all this shit, they seeing Kanye West in person, they probably all on his dick, trying to get an autograph, trying to take a picture. So let's keep it real. People don't really care. It's just because mainstream media is talking about it. Everybody want to be, up to date on what people are talking about so they can, leave a post. And that's basically what it is. People don't give a shit, They don't really care, because you don't care what happens to your kids. You don't care, what they're getting for school lunch. You don't care that they have, inadequate equipment and books and materials in their school. People don't care about that shit. Just go to school, get them out my hair. Ain't nobody down there trying to march for better schools. All these schools being shut down, especially in Philadelphia, where I'm from. People ain't saying shit. They don't care. Everybody's driven by the media, driven by the culture and what the culture thinks and says. So if right now we ragging on Kanye, okay, let the memes begin. So the memes is flowing and everybody getting a big laugh out of it, but nobody really cares how it's really affecting, the culture and everything else. This is what we do. This is the culture now. It's what it is. Everything is fucking fake. Everything is just messed up and twisted and ass backwards. And this is how we got to deal with it. So, as far as what we should do exactly what we've been doing. Plain and simple, absolutely nothing. Just ignore it. Plain and simple, because it's a distraction meant to be a distraction, clearly. This dude knew the kind of reaction he was going to get when he said that out his mouth. I mean, these people have publicists and managers and people in their corner and stuff like that. I can't imagine any of his black friends, anybody that got some common sense, let him say that. I mean, he probably got a lot of yes men and all that stuff like that, but somebody care about him, to say, yo, you was wrong. You need to apologize. And Kanye is all about expression and freedom. And if he felt like saying that, that's how he is. I felt like saying it. And a lot of people believe he got a reason for saying what he's saying, and he going to bounce back and have something, to make up for what he said. And that's basically what's going to happen. He going to say some shit, and, it is what it is. But what he did do, which was crazy, is, he basically left, a song basically saying, fuck y'all, because the song was nothing. Everybody, oh, Kanye West dropped a new song, you know. They put it out there. It was him basically saying a bunch of bullshit, which basically mean to me, fuck out of here. He don't care. He don't care. And you shouldn't either. You know, he shouldn't buy his shit. He shouldn't care. You shouldn't be fucking, you know, giving him so much money. And it is what it is. But the white folks won't give him the money because white folks want to believe what he's saying is true. So he can go ahead and alienate black folks, and he can go ahead and say all this shit. And what's going to happen? Y'all ain't really supporting him. Y'all bootlegging this shit, or y'all ain't really buying any fucking way. The white folks is, though. They spending the money, and they going to keep spending the money. Plain and simple. They sell those tickets real high in the front row because they know white folks going to pay for them. That's why you always see a bunch of white folks in the front row and all the black poor people in the back. Can't really afford to have bought the ticket. But he get to go ahead, and all these rappers get to go ahead and scream, kill all these niggas, and shoot these niggas up in these concerts in front of a bunch of fucking white folks. And, you know, that's what it is. So that's what the culture is about. You know, we get, as I said, two sides to the coin. We got to deal with both sides. They only got to deal with one side. We got to deal with the positive and the negative side of the coin. They only got to deal with the positive side. So they get to be entertained. We get to be entertained and deal with all the backlash and the fact that it's destroying our image and destroying, you know, how the world looks at us as a people. So, fuck Kanye, and you know, and all the rest of these sellouts. They sold y'all out. I don't understand why y'all want to focus on these people. Sold us out, and they're gonna keep selling us out, and that's what it is. We have accepted that. We found entertainment in it, and it is what it is. So, you know, why even discuss it? And why so many people is focused on it. And every time it just never fails, which is why I said, yo, just ignore this stuff. It never fails. Every time they come out with something, we as black people, we got to defend ourselves against, you know, white supremacy. And now we got to defend ourselves against one of our own. I mean, it's crazy. It's the constant attack on us. Every time we look up, there's some racist shit pop up, or somebody says something racist, or some dumb shit pop up, and it never fails. And we keep entertaining this shit as if something is going to change because we said something. It's bullshit. So again, you know, that's my opinion. I'm entitled to it, just like you're entitled to yours. But my whole thing is this to you people, to black folks, you know, to my people. Listen, you really want to do something about this? If you really want to piss these people off or make some kind of, some kind of noise or movement, be successful. That's all you got to do. Be successful. Start creating generational wealth. Stop being selfish. Stop thinking about what you won't be able to achieve in your lifetime, and focus on your child's lifetime and what you can do in the future. You know, so your child don't have to grow up and deal with this poverty bullshit. Be successful, because that's the only way we're going to be able to fix anything. As I said before in the previous video, we so far behind, you know. Us simply not stopping at these, shopping at these retail stores is not going to make a huge dent in the economy of, you know, white people. It's not going to really affect the major overall economy. We're so far back, but we got to start somewhere, and we got to start fast and soon. So that's the way to begin, because that's what matters right there, is the economic position that we are in. And that's what they really care about, because money talks, plain and simple. And we got to start. We not freaking raising no journalists, and we not raising no politicians, and we not raising people to be in high positions, you know, as far as in this structure. And don't get me wrong, even if we did, we probably wouldn't get in anyway. But as far as economics, that's something we can control. That's something we can go ahead and box them out and put our money, you know, with our people. But you know, if we not willing to do that, you know, we got to accept what they give us. It's just that simple. Can't complain if you're not trying to do nothing to change the situation. It's just that simple. So, you know, one of the reasons why I put out the personal economic series, as I always say, to try to get people to change their mindset and to understand that, you know, spiritually, you're not going to be right because physically you're held down by so much. You know, the whole weight and pressure of these material things, it's not going to really allow you to release spiritually. You're not going to be able to really do anything with meditation because you're so locked into physical things, worried about rent, bills, and, you know, material possession. So it's better that you have financial freedom so you can go ahead and release, you know, have some kind of, you know, relaxation. So when you do get into meditation, you're not focused on material possessions when you need to be focused on spiritual. And we can't do that because everybody immersed in what that girl looks like. You know, what kind of car this dude got? You know, and we talk about stuff that's far fetched. Like motherfuckers not even making, you know, 50,000 a year, and they focused on, you know, $1 million cars. So if you really want to make a difference, you know, be successful. Get rich. Create black businesses, black jobs for black folks, and you know, invest your money wisely and do things that's going to benefit black people, and it's basically what we can do. That's how we begin, you know, and we haven't even done that in many cases. You know, with somebody like Kanye, what he says, you know, what any of these celebrities say is not really going to, you know, really affect most people in their personal everyday life. At the end of the day, you are regular you, working 9 to 5, doing what you got to do, and you got to take care of your family. You know, you got to take care of your future and your legacy and what you want to leave behind and where you want to be at in the next, you know, 10 years. So focus on that. You know, this is what we need to be focusing on, and not really get caught up in this drama. Even though it's entertainment, shit is funny to a lot of people. A lot of people find entertainment in a lot of this garbage, and it is what it is as far as that aspect. But, you know, if you're doing what you got to do, if you focusing on, you know, success, you know, you're entitled to that type of stuff. So it's just a lot of people who are not, and a lot of people who are just really worried and focused on the wrong type of stuff that trying to blow it up and make it, you know, a big deal. And that to me is crazy. It's like, why make this a big deal? Forget about it. Because if it was somebody else, it wouldn't be mainstream. They would have pushed it under the rug. They would have talked about it probably once, and then it would have been over. You know, there's a lot of stuff that these white folks done said and did and been able to come back, you know, and make a recovery and still be able to get money and still be able to do shit. Because they can say stuff and still get their money from their people, because they people putting out most of the money anyway. So they can say little shit here and there and still make sales, you know. And we not buying most of the hip hop any fucking way, you know, white man is anyway. So they can say that and still make their sales and still sell out their concerts and their shows. So we got to understand that and stop supporting this shit, plain and simple. And it is what it is. We keep jumping into it because white people doing it. You know, as I said before, we got to stop that and understand what the stuff is, and that it's here and given to us to destroy us, plain and simple. Nothing really, you know, else to say. So I ain't want to make this too long. Just, you know, talk about the fact that you have 7%. If we talking about all the black people, it is, you know, 7 out of 100% black businesses. And that's crazy. Out of 100% of the black folks, only 7% have businesses. That's a problem. That's what we got to be focusing on. That's what we got to change. A lot of people getting the money to do so and not willing to do it for all the reasons I talked about in the last video. So again, we got to make the situation and conditions better for people who are able to obtain black business and have a black business, for them to be successful. And we got to support them just like we support everybody who's trying to oppress us. So that's basically what we need to be focusing on, what we need to be doing. So don't want to make this too long. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch, and see you next video.